All right. Hello, everybody. Going off of what I said that I was going to be posting about, family units and things like that with a social work leaning background to it, I'm going to start today by talking about my family. So, personally, I am a product of two parents who were not married. I'm actually a product of a mother who was married to someone else and a father who was married to another person. And while they were in separation, I was birthed out of that experience. Uh, it gets a little interesting because then I have two other sisters who are of the same father and the same mother who were born after me, and I have two brothers, one born before me and one born within the same year that I was born too. So my family is it's a little wacky. It's a little wacky, and I think what has to be understood about it is my trauma just as a child came from that understanding of where I was in the placement of those children. I have two brothers who share the same father and the same mother. I have two sisters who share the same father and the same mother. I only share the father with one group and share the mother with another group, but there's only one me. And that began to create a complex in me as a child. It was a complex of knowing that, I would always have to strike it alone. I think that's the most important part is that I had to strike it alone because I was unique in that situation. Going into that situation a little bit deeper, my mother died when I was 7 years old. My mother was the one who actually raised me. My father was a man who was troubled by drugs for years of his life. In fact, I really didn't even meet my father until I finished my undergraduate degree, which that fed into my abandonment issues. And I had double abandonment issues because my mother died when I was 7, and then my father was not an active role in my life. And I believed that for a very long time that he was not in my life simply based on the fact that he didn't know. And that's ridiculous because the man actually took a DNA test. And not only did he take a DNA test, he and my grandmother would fight with each other. So let's add on to that mix. My maternal grandmother took me in, right? That's right after my mother died. There was a lot of back and forth between my maternal aunt, who was my mother's sister, and my grandmother over where we would go. Were we going to leave Houston and move up north, or were we going to stay here in Houston? And my grandmother won that debate, along with my grandfather. My grandfather, who would also later down me, was the only real positive male role model in my life, and not that positive. I also grew up in a house where my uncle, who served in the Gulf War, who came back to this country with severe mental illness, lived in the exact same house that I did. That would impact me for a lot of years. You know what I'm saying? So when we start to talk about family connections, the root origin of trauma, it starts with the people who are in your immediate environment. That is one aspect of this talk. I'm going to expand on it a little bit more. But for the meantime, understand that I'm a child who has siblings where I'm the only unique one. I'm dealing with abandonment issues from my mother dying and my father not having an active role in my life. I'm dealing with intergenerational struggle because my grandmother is the one that's raising me, and she's trying to put up with 20th century values when she raised, well, it's still 20th century, but it's like new age. So it's the 90s. You're raising kids in the 90s compared to you raising kids in the 60s. So that is its own thing, and you're raising your second set of children. Mental illness is at play, and this is just within the immediate family, my immediate circle. I'll get into more details of that in the next post. So, I just want to stretch this out just a little bit, give it a little bit of fire, just so it could keep people a little interested, so I could go into breaking down each component at the end of the week. So, I hope that this is one of the ways that I could start by just being open and honest about, some of the things that have happened in my family and what it had done to me. And there it is. Peace.